Good evening. I'm Brian Hogue, creator and producer of Sleepy Hollow Theater. Tonight I've joined up with ORPIT, the Oil Region Paranormal Investigation Team, to bring you Hauntings in Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us this Halloween night for this special documentary where we unveil ghosts that haunt our darkest fears. Tonight we explore different aspects of hauntings. We'll visit the battlegrounds of Gettysburg, a haunted hotel and a home that is so haunted, the terrified family that lives there will probably be moved out by the airing of this show. Ghosts, apparitions, spirits and specters, whatever you prefer to call them, mankind has been seeing them since the beginning of time. Whether you believe in them or not, the one thing you can be sure of is they will not be ignored. Besides being a famous historical site, Gettysburg is one of the most haunted places not only in Pennsylvania, but the entire United States. So many people lost their lives in such a short period of time and in such tragic ways. The Battle of Gettysburg was the costliest battle of the Civil War based on the number of casualties, spanning over 3 days, from July 1st until the 3rd, 1863. The battle resulted in well over 51,000 individuals being killed, wounded, missing, or captured. The ghosts of Gettysburg. For almost 150 years, they've haunted thousands of people who have witnessed ghostly figures, strange visions, and unearthly events before their very eyes. Certainly one of the most reputable attractions in Gettysburg is the Sleepy Hollow Ghost Tours, which is a candlelight tour owned and operated by Cindy Schultz. Cindy is the 6th-generation granddaughter of Nicholas Cadore of the Cadore Farm, the famous battle site of Pickett's Charge. And normally the tours are presented at night, but Sleepy Hollow Ghost Tours was kind enough to make an exception for the sake of this documentary. So let's join our tour guide, Chris, as he shares his tale with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are at the Grove here in historic Gettysburg. You are standing on actual battlefield. We're on the Battle of July 2nd. When General Lee tried to probe around the sides, he launched a portion of his battle from this location. And what happened exactly was a unit called Hayes's Louisiana Taggers, with over 1,000 men, marched right across this field in a line of battle towards their date with destiny. Let's talk about Hayes's Louisiana Taggers very briefly. They were from the swamps and bayous of Louisiana. These guys were tough. As a matter of fact, more than half of the men in this unit, they literally took out of prison and put them in the Confederate Army. They had more inter-unit disciplinary problems with this unit than any other unit in the Confederate Army. But when they fought in battle, they fought like the devil. And they never, ever, ever, ever lost a battle until they walked across this ground that night. And what happened was Hayes's Louisiana Taggers marched in a line of battle thusly, and about 100 yards in front of me, they got the command by the right oblique march. They took a 45-degree angle up that slope in the famous Battle of East Cemetery Hill, here in the Battle of Gettysburg. Unfortunately for Hayes's Louisiana Taggers, on the top of that hill, in front of the very famous red brick gate of the Evergreen Cemetery, was waiting an entire corps of Yankees with a battery of cannon. And unfortunately for Hayes's Louisiana Taggers, 1,000 men could not beat an entire corps. They lost their first battle, and 60% of the men did not make it back to the ensuing ridge from which they lost their battle. Now, we will talk more in this tour about those men trying to get back to their lines. But what happened? This battle was in late afternoon. Shortly after the battle, it got dark. The bugler came out and sounded church call, ba 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 ba, etc. And that sounded an impromptu truce. Then by the hundreds, from both sides, this field was covered as it got dark with people holding their candle lanterns, looking for their dead and their wounded. Are you dead? Are you wounded? Are you friend or foe? Is this a watch I can steal? Since the days of the battle until contemporary times today, we have numerous reports of local civilians and visitors to Gettysburg coming here to this location late at night or particularly early in the morning before dawn. And all through this field across the slope, there are sightings of the spirits of the swinging lanterns, where you will see numerous swinging lanterns here at night. And we are not talking fireflies, ladies and gentlemen. We even have a documented case in the year 1975, as behind us was the original Gettysburg School District. And during the year of 1975, the high school kids were having beer parties right back here. And it got so bad that the people in these homes complained, and the cops had to do something. So they organized, if you will, like a deer drive. And the local cops started from that parking lot, and as they saw lanterns over there, or lights, or they thought was a beer party, they began to press over there. And they knew that those kids who were having that beer party, if push came to shove, they couldn't go through the woods because there was a fence on the other side of the woods at the time. And they couldn't go to the left because at the time there was a swamp. If push came to shove, they could only go up East Cemetery Hill, and they did that. However, that is national park territory under the sojourn of the park rangers, who have full police powers. So the park rangers were waiting up there to set the trap. They communicated, let's go, let's start it. The local police have their drive, and they see all the lanterns running up the hill along that tree line. And as they got to the top of the hill, the lanterns mysteriously just went out. The cops get back on the radio with the rangers. Well, where are they? How many did you get? They didn't get any. They didn't see one living soul, because there was no living souls. It was not a kid having a beer party. It was the spirits of the swinging lanterns.
Ghosts of war, restless spirits of soldiers, spies, saboteurs, as well as civilians. Wherever battles have been fought throughout the ages, where people have perished, and tragedy has left its mark, ghost legends have followed. The world's battlefields are imprinted with the passions, fears, braveries, and horrors of the soldiers who took their enemies' lives and often sacrificed their own. Battlefields are still alive with spirit activity centuries after the last shot was fired and the last casualty lost. Where men's and women's lives ended so quickly that their spirits may not even realize that they're dead. Where soldiers focused on duty still patrol the front lines of long-finished wars.